Reflect in English podcast.
Welcome to our podcast. Today we're diving into an idea that might just, change how you think about getting things done. We're not talking about what you should add to your already busy day, but something much more surprising. What you should not do. Everyone knows the classic to-do list, right? It's our trusty helper for work, home, and, everything in between. We write down tasks, big and small, hoping to feel on top of things. But what if there was a secret trick, a clever way to feel less stressed and actually get more important stuff done, simply by avoiding certain actions? What if the key was actually about taking things off your plate instead of always piling them more on?
That's exactly right. We're talking about the not to-do list. It might sound a little strange at first, maybe even counterintuitive, because our minds are so trained to think about adding tasks, right? About doing more. But the simple truth at its heart is incredibly powerful. Avoiding the wrong things can save you so much energy, so much precious time, and it can even give you more mental space than just adding extra tasks to an already full schedule. Think of it like this. It's not just about running faster. It's about making sure you're running in the right direction without, tripping over things you don't need.
Okay, so our mission today is to really uncover the power of this not to-do list. We're going to explore exactly how it works, why it's such a strong tool for your mind and your daily life, and most importantly, step by step, how you can create your very own. Get ready to discover how letting go of just a few simple distractions can help you feel lighter, more focused, and truly get to what matters most. This idea, it really can make a big difference. So let's kick things off by thinking about our usual to-do lists. You know the routine. The alarm goes off, you grab your coffee, maybe sit down to plan your day. You open your notebook or your phone app and you start writing. And before you know it, that list gets long, like really long, really fast. Maybe it has really urgent things like finish that presentation by 3 p.m. Then there are important things like call that client back. Definitely need to do that. And often mixed in with all of that are some other items. Things like reorganize files on computer or check email again for the 10th time this morning. It's a real mix of everything, isn't it? All shouting for your attention.
Yes, and the big problem here, the real issue, is that when a list becomes too long, our brain actually feels overwhelmed. It's not a feeling of clarity and readiness like, okay, let's do this. It's more like carrying a backpack filled with way too many heavy rocks. We often hesitate, right? Or we might even just stop before we truly begin, feeling stuck by the sheer number of things we feel we should be doing. That heavy feeling can make us want to avoid the list completely, or maybe just pick the easiest, least important item just to cross something off.
And here's a funny but very true point about how our brains work. We love quick wins. We love that little happy feeling we get when we cross something off a list. It feels good. So what happens? We often choose the easiest tasks first, just like you said. We might tell ourselves, okay, I'll just clean my desk, then I'll start that big report. But then an hour, maybe even 2 goes by and you've spent all that time making your pens perfectly straight and sorting old papers. Meanwhile, that really important report, the one that truly moves your work forward, is still untouched. It's such a common trap. We all fall into it, don't we?
We really do. And this means the small, easy tasks end up eating all our time. They slowly, almost sneakily take away our valuable hours, our energy, and our focus. And as a result, the really important big tasks, the ones that make a real difference, often never get finished. Your to-do list can, sadly, become a place where good ideas just go to disappear, like a graveyard of good intentions, as some people call it, where all those wonderful plans get buried under a pile of, less important busy work. This is exactly where the not to-do list comes in. It helps us break this cycle.
Okay, so if simply doing more isn't always the answer, what is? What's the clever trick here to actually make real progress and feel good about it?
Well, the main idea is actually very simple. True success and truly getting important things done, it's not about doing more. It's actually about doing less, but doing those fewer things much better, more effectively. It's a powerful shift in how you think about productivity. Imagine it this way. Taking things away, subtraction, is actually a powerful tool. By removing what doesn't help you, you automatically create more space and focus for the things that truly do. It's not about adding new tricks or fancy apps. It's about a fundamental change in how you approach your day, every single day.
I really love the idea of using a buffet to explain this. It paints such a clear picture, doesn't it? Imagine you're at a big buffet and there are so many tasty foods laid out. If you fill your plate with a lot of fries, maybe some pizza, and a whole bunch of random snacks, things that are good in the moment but perhaps not the best for you long term, then you won't have space left for the really good stuff, like that perfectly cooked steak you saw, or the fresh healthy salad, or that amazing dessert you really wanted to try. Your plate ends up full, but maybe not with the foods that truly make you happy or give you lasting energy.
Exactly. The not-to-do list is just like saying, nope, no fries today, no random snacks.
No.
It helps you save space on your mental plate, right? For the good stuff. The important things that truly nourish you and help your life move forward. Instead of always asking, what new thing should I add to my day? What else can I possibly squeeze in? You start asking a much more powerful question. What should I stop doing? That one simple question helps you clear your plate, so to speak, for what really matters.
That one question truly can change so much. It really forces you to think differently about your priorities and how you spend your valuable time and energy. It's quite profound.
And why does this idea of not-to-do lists work so well for us?
It comes down to biology, really. Because we are not machines, we're human beings. We don't have endless energy, an unlimited amount of focus, or infinite willpower. It just doesn't work that way. Every little distraction, every bad habit we slip into, every useless meeting we sit through, every single activity that wastes our time takes a small piece of our limited energy. Think of your mind and body like a car with a certain amount of fuel for the day. If you spend that fuel on unimportant detours, driving around in circles, you don't have enough left for the main journey for what truly counts. So in this way, the not-to-do list is like a strong shield for your mind. It stands guard, protecting your valuable mental resources. I like thinking of it like a firewall on a computer. Is that a good comparison? You know how a firewall blocks bad things, like computer viruses and those annoying pop-ups, stops them from getting into your computer and making it slow or causing problems? This list does the same thing for your brain. It keeps the bad stuff out.
Exactly. A firewall is a great analogy. It blocks the viruses, the unimportant tasks, the bad habits, the things that just waste your precious time and mental energy. By blocking these things, your brain has its full power, its full focus, and clarity for what truly matters to you. It's not constantly fighting off small distractions or feeling tired from tasks that don't help you reach your goals. Your brain can actually work at its best, doing the deep work.
And here's a fun fact about our brains, which I find fascinating. They actually love rules. When you make a clear rule for yourself, like, I will not do this specific thing, you actually free yourself. You free yourself from always having to make a decision in the moment. It's a bit like a diet rule, isn't it? If you say no sugar right from the start, you don't waste time and mental energy thinking, should I have that piece of chocolate or that cookie? The choice is already made for you. Your brain doesn't have to argue with itself over and over again.
This means the not-to-do list greatly reduces something called decision fatigue. And that's a huge win, a really big deal, because your brain doesn't get tired from making so many small, often insignificant choices throughout the day. Every time you have to decide, should I check my phone now? Should I answer that email right away? Should I join this meeting? Your brain uses up a little bit of energy. It's a small cost, but it adds up. The not-to-do list makes those choices for you ahead of time, saving that mental energy for the bigger, more important decisions.
Okay. This all sounds great in theory, really powerful, but let's make it real. Let's get practical. What kind of things actually go on this special not-to-do list? Can you give us some common examples? Things that many of us might recognize in our own lives, things people often put on their lists.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Let's talk specifics. Here are some classic examples that many people use and find incredibly helpful in their daily lives. First one, don't check email first thing in the morning. This is a really big one for a lot of people, a game changer, honestly. When you open your inbox first thing, your mind immediately gets pulled into other people's problems, right? Their requests, their emergencies. You start your day reacting to their priorities instead of focusing on your own most important work. You basically lose control of your morning right away.
Yeah, that makes sense. You're immediately on the defensive, almost.
Exactly. Another big one. Don't say yes immediately to every request. This is hard for many of us, I know, especially if we like to help people or we really don't want to disappoint anyone. But it's so important to just take a moment, breathe, think, ask yourself, is this new request truly important for me and my own goals? Or am I just saying yes out of habit, or maybe politeness, or even guilt? It's okay to pause and think it over. Give yourself that space.
That pause is crucial. What else?
Okay, how about this one? Don't keep social media tabs open while working. We'd all know how easy it is to fall into that scroll hole. It's designed that way. You think, oh, just check one quick thing and then suddenly 20 minutes have vanished. You've seen 5 funny cat videos and completely forgotten what you were even working on. Having those tabs open is like a constant invitation to get distracted, a little voice always calling your name, come look over here.
The siren call of the infinite scroll.
Yeah. Right. And then there's sneak up. Don't multitask during important work. Many people still think they can do many things at once effectively, but the science is pretty clear on this. Trying to do many things often means doing none of them particularly well. It just adds stress and makes your brain switch its focus back and forth very rapidly. It isn't true multitasking. It's really task switching, and it's incredibly tiring for your brain. You lose depth.
Okay, one more.
Sure. Don't go to meetings without a clear plan or agenda. If there's no clear reason for the meeting, if you don't know what you're supposed to discuss or what goal you're trying to achieve, it might be better to politely skip it, or at least ask for an agenda first. Could you send over a quick outline of what we'll cover? Because meetings without a clear purpose can be huge time wasters for absolutely everyone involved.
See, these aren't things you do, it's the opposite. These are things you actively block or avoid. You build a wall against them. And making that conscious choice not to do them, putting them on your not to-do list, it can have amazing results for your focus, your energy, and your overall ability to get the important things done. It's really all about setting smart boundaries for yourself, isn't it?
It really is. And here's something that might surprise you. A feeling you get. Writing a regular to-do list, well, it often feels heavy, doesn't it? Like a big burden you look at and you think, oh man, I have so much to do. It can feel like a weight on your shoulders, maybe even cause some anxiety. But writing a not-to-do list feels completely different.
Yeah.
It actually feels freeing, liberating.
Freeing. How so? Like you're giving yourself special permission. Permission to ignore certain things. Permission to let go of the pressure to do absolutely everything. Giving yourself a much-needed break from things that don't truly serve you. It's a feeling of liberation, maybe.
Exactly. That's the feeling. Instead of feeling guilty because, say, you didn't answer emails at 7 a.m., a time when you really wanted to focus on your most important project, maybe some creative work, you can declare with confidence, email is not my morning activity. I made a rule for myself. And suddenly you feel totally in control. You're not just reacting to what the world throws at you all day. You're deciding how you want to spend your precious time. That feeling of control, of being the captain of your own ship, it's incredibly powerful and truly liberating.
It's almost like magic, in a way. By consciously not doing certain things, by taking them off your mental plate, you're actually doing better at the things that truly matter. You're making clear space for deep, focused work, for important conversations, for creative thinking, for whatever truly fuels your soul and moves your life forward.
You know, many people still believe that to be successful, you just have to work extra hard. Always grinding, always pushing yourself, constantly putting in more and more hours. They think the answer to every problem is just to do more, pile it on. But the real truth is, success often comes not from brute force, not from just working harder, but from focus.
Yeah.
Laser focus. It's about putting your energy in the right place, not just scattering it everywhere.
That makes perfect sense when you put it like that. Think about it. If you're running in the wrong direction, running faster doesn't help you at all. In fact, it just gets you further away from where you actually want to be and much more quickly. You could be the hardest worker in the world, putting in so much effort, sweating buckets. But if that effort is pointed entirely in the wrong direction, it simply won't lead to the results you truly want. It's wasted effort.
That's precisely why the not-to-do list is so smart. It's strategic. It makes sure you don't waste your energy, your speed, or your valuable time on the wrong path. It acts like a filter, or maybe like guardrails on a highway for your day. It tells your future self, hey, remember, don't waste time here. This isn't important. You'll thank me later. It's a proactive way to protect your most valuable resources, time and energy, from being spent on things that don't truly matter. It's a strategic decision that you make in advance when you're calm and clear-headed, planning for success.
So it's a smart strategy, not just about using brute force or sheer willpower. It's truly about working smarter, not just harder. And that difference, that shift in thinking, is so important for long-term success, for feeling good, and for your overall well-being. Now, beyond just saving time, which, let's face it, is a huge benefit we all want, there's another really enormous benefit that we haven't talked enough about yet. Your energy. We're talking about your personal energy, right? How you feel throughout the day, how motivated you are, how clear your mind is. This is a very precious resource, maybe even more than time sometimes.
That's absolutely right. Time is incredibly important, of course, because once it's gone, you can't get it back. But your energy is also a precious resource. maybe even more so in some ways. Every time you avoid, say, a useless meeting, you don't just save an hour that you would have spent sitting there, maybe bored or frustrated. You also save the frustration that often comes with such meetings, right? You save the mental noise of wondering, why am I even here? What's the point? And you save the stress of feeling your valuable time is being completely wasted. All those small savings, they really add up to a lot of reclaimed energy over the course of a day or a week.
And what happens to all that saved energy? That's the exciting part. Where does all that mental fuel and motivation go? The energy that you didn't burn on distractions or pointless tasks?
Well, that energy can now go into things that genuinely make you proud, things that matter to you. It can go into learning something new that truly excites you. Maybe a new skill for work, a new hobby like painting or playing guitar, or even learning a new language. You can go into creating something meaningful, whether that's an important report at work that you can really pour yourself into, a piece of art, or a new idea for your own business or project. Or, and this is so very important, it can go into spending quality time with someone you love. Truly being present and engaged with them, giving them your full attention, not just half listening while checking your phone. That's the true beauty of the not-to-do list. It doesn't just give you more time, it gives you back your life force, your zest for living and doing the things that truly light you up.
So the big idea is becoming really clear now. Success isn't about adding more and more to your plate, making yourself frantically busier. It's about cutting out the noise, removing the things that drain you, and making valuable space for what truly brings value, joy, and purpose to your life. Okay, this all sounds amazing. It's such a freeing and powerful idea, honestly. But now you might be listening and wondering, okay, this sounds good, I'm sold, but how do I actually make my own not-to-do list? It might feel a bit different from making a regular to-do list, maybe less intuitive at first. So what are the practical steps? How do we start building this thing?
That's an excellent question.
Yeah.
Because knowing why is great, but knowing how is essential. Let's go step by step so you can start building this powerful tool for yourself today. Okay, step 1, spot the energy killers. This first step is simple, but it does require a little bit of awareness, a bit of self-observation. You need to pay close attention during your day to what makes you feel tired or distracted, or maybe just annoyed, irritated. These are the things that drain your battery, that make you sigh heavily, or give you that feeling in your stomach. You know the feeling.
Right. So the first step is just paying attention, noticing. Don't just rush through your day on autopilot without thinking. Really notice those moments when you feel a dip in your energy or your mood. Those moments are important clues, aren't they?
There are huge clues. Think of your day like a little science experiment for a day or two. Just observe yourself. Maybe jot down those moments when you think, oh, why am I even doing this? Or this feels like such a waste of my time. These are very valuable data points. For example, maybe it's checking your phone every 5 minutes, constantly pulling your attention away from what you actually want to be doing. Or perhaps it's talking to that one friend or colleague who always complains and leaves you feeling completely drained afterwards. We all know someone like that, maybe. You could be sitting in meetings where you never say anything because they don't apply to you at all, but you feel obligated to be there. Or even something as common as eating your lunch while still staring at your laptop screen, never taking a real proper break to recharge.
These aren't just small things, are they? They seem small, but they add up. They are energy killers. Like little annoying mosquito bites, maybe. On their own, they're not much, but they add up, taking a huge toll on your mental and physical energy. And these energy killers should be the very first items on your not-to-do list. They're the low-hanging fruit, the prime candidates for removal.
Exactly. Then comes step 2. Find the fake priorities. Next, you need to learn to tell the difference between real priorities and fake priorities. This is a very important skill for managing your time and energy wisely. It takes practice.
Okay, what's the difference between a real priority and a fake priority? Because sometimes they both feel important, don't they? They both seem urgent or demand attention. How can we tell them apart?
That's a great point. They often do feel important because they demand our attention or they appear urgent. Maybe someone else labeled them as urgent. But there's a key difference. Real priorities are the things that genuinely move your life forward in a meaningful way. They help you achieve your most important goals. They truly contribute to your long-term happiness and well-being. Or they truly make a positive impact on someone you care deeply about. They have substance. Fake priorities, on the other hand, make you feel busy. They definitely fill up your time, but they don't change much in the long run. They give you the feeling of being productive without the actual progress or real benefit. It's like spinning your wheels.
Can you give us some examples that might help clarify?
Sure. Let's look at some examples to make this clearer. Writing your resume to apply for a new better job or a great opportunity that's a real priority, right? It moves your career forward significantly. But spending 30 minutes just changing the fonts on your resume over and over again, trying to make it look perfect without actually improving the content, that's often a fake priority. It feels like work, it feels productive, but it doesn't really change the outcome of your job application much, if at all. Another example, calling your mom to check in and have a real meaningful conversation is probably a real priority for your relationship with her. But spending an hour mindlessly scrolling through random funny pictures or videos online is usually a fake priority. It fills time, sure, but it doesn't build anything lasting or meaningful.
Ah, I see. That makes a lot of sense. That distinction is really important. And many people, myself included probably, get trapped serving these fake priorities because they often feel urgent, like they must be done right now. Maybe someone else is asking for them, but they aren't actually important for your overall goals or your life vision. So your not to-do list helps you identify them, call them out, and politely but firmly say no to them, saving your time for what really matters.
Exactly. Which brings us to step 3. Write your no more rules. Now for the fun part, the part where you take action. Writing clear, strong rules for yourself. This is where you actually create the items for your list. You make the commitment.
Okay, how should these rules sound? Should they be super formal, like strict military orders, or more like friendly reminders to yourself? What's the best way to phrase them?
Good question. Each item should be like a clear command, a direct statement you make to yourself. No more of this. Simple and direct. Keep it short, keep it specific, and make it easy to understand. The clearer the rule, the easier it is to follow it when you're in the moment. For example, instead of just vaguely thinking, I should probably check email less often, you write a clear, actionable rule. No checking email before 10 a.m. Or maybe no saying yes on the spot to new requests without thinking first and checking my calendar. Give yourself that buffer. Another good one could be no work calls during dinner time to really protect your family or personal time. Or a very common one these days, no scrolling TikTok in bed after 9 p.m. to protect your precious sleep. Even something like no buying stuff just because it's on sale can go on a list to help you save money and avoid unnecessary clutter.
Wow, when you write these down, it really feels like you're drawing a protective circle around your life, doesn't it? You're setting clear boundaries, and that can feel incredibly powerful and empowering. You're taking back control of your own choices and your own time.
That's exactly the feeling. And finally, step 4, test, adjust, and keep going. Don't expect everything to be perfect on day 1. This isn't magic. It takes practice. Your not to-do list is not a one-time project you do once and then forget about it. It's not set in stone. It's something that grows with you. It's a living document that you will likely update and change over time as your life changes. Think of it as a journey of refinement, not a single destination you arrive at.
So it's not set in stone. That's reassuring. If something isn't working, or maybe my priorities shift, or something new comes up in my life, I can change the list. That sounds very flexible and realistic.
That's absolutely right. It's designed to be flexible, and it must adapt to your life to remain useful. Maybe you start with 3 items that you know for sure are big energy killers for you right now. Focus on those. A week later, you realize, hey, I've conquered those bad habits pretty well, but you've spotted 5 new distractions that have popped up, so you need to add those. A month later, you might even remove 1 rule because it's no longer a problem for you. You've successfully built a good, strong habit around it, and you don't need the explicit rule anymore. It's a continuous process of refining and improving how you spend your time and energy, always getting a little bit better, a little more intentional.
That makes sense. Think of it like a filter that gets better and smarter over time. As life throws new distractions at you, as new shiny objects appear trying to grab your attention, you can simply add a new not-to-do item to your list. It keeps evolving. It's your personal evolving tool for staying focused and intentional, always adapting to your current challenges and helping you stay on track towards what you really want. Let's look at some maybe funny, but definitely very real examples of how this actually works for people. These aren't made-up stories. These are things that happen in everyday life, showing the real positive impact of having a not-to-do list in practice.
Absolutely. Practical examples really help bring this idea to life and show you just how powerful these simple rules can be. They make it tangible. Okay, let's start with the email trap again, because it's such a common one. We often think checking email is productive work, right? It feels like we're getting things done, clearing out the inbox. But honestly, a huge amount of it is just noise notifications, newsletters you never read, chain letters, things that aren't truly urgent or important at all. One study I read found that the average office worker checks email an astonishing 74 times a day. Can you even imagine? That's like a dog running to the door every single time it hears a car drive by outside, whether it's a mailman, a neighbor, or just a random vehicle passing. It's a constant low-level, energy-sapping distraction that pulls your focus away from deep work.
74 times. Wow. Okay, so one person realizing this huge drain on their day put this clear rule on their not-to-do list. Do not check email until noon. A very simple, very clear rule. No ambiguity.
And guess what happened? For this person, that single rule reportedly doubled their hours of deep, focused work in the morning. They were finally able to concentrate fully on their most important tasks. The challenging, creative, or strategic work, getting a huge chunk of meaningful stuff done before opening their inbox and letting other people's needs and agendas take over their day. Just one not-to-do item completely changed their day, their productivity, and likely made them feel much less stressed and reactive. It prevented them from getting pulled into other people's urgent needs before they even got started on their own priorities.
That's a massive impact from one small rule. Okay, what about social media?
Ah, yes. The social media black hole. We've all been there, haven't we? We know this one well. You tell yourself, okay, I'll just check Instagram for 5 minutes, just quickly see what's new. You set the intention. But then, whoosh, 45 minutes later, you're somehow watching a video of a raccoon riding a bicycle while wearing a tiny hat. And you suddenly snap back to reality wondering, how did I even get here? What was I supposed to be doing again?
It's a very common experience for almost everyone these days. If that sounds like you, congratulations, you're completely human. It's not a personal failing or a lack of discipline, is it? It's how these apps are cleverly designed. They are engineered to grab and hold our attention for as long as possible. They are very, very good at what they do.
They are incredibly good at it. So a smart not-to-do list item for this very common trap could be something specific like, do not open Instagram on weekdays before 6 p.m. It's clear, it's specific, and it's totally possible to follow if you commit to it. This rule stops that black hole before it can even begin to suck you in during your prime working or productive hours. It protects your focus time and makes sure you use your valuable brain power for things that actually serve your goals and make a real difference. It simply removes the temptation from your immediate environment during those important times.
Okay, but some people might still hear all of this and ask, why can't I just be more disciplined? Why do I need a list to tell me what not to do? Shouldn't I just have more willpower to say no to these things? It feels like relying on a list is maybe a crutch.
That's a really fair question, and it gets to a very important point about how our minds actually work, how willpower functions. Here's the truth, based on a lot of psychological research. Relying only on willpower is generally not a great long-term strategy for behavior change. Willpower is like a muscle. It gets tired quickly throughout the day. It's a finite resource. If you try to fight every single temptation you encounter with just raw strength and self-control, constantly telling yourself, no, 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 you will likely lose that battle by the afternoon. Your willpower muscle gets fatigued, you'll feel completely exhausted mentally, and much more likely to give in to impulses later on. It's simply not a sustainable strategy for long-term success or well-being.
Okay. So the not-to-do list is actually much, much smarter than just relying on willpower alone. It's about being strategic and planning ahead, setting up your environment for success.
That's exactly right. It removes the temptation before you even have to face it and fight it with your limited willpower. Think about that cookie jar analogy again. If you have a jar of delicious cookies sitting right there on your desk all day long, you're constantly using willpower to not eat them. Every time you glance over and see them, your willpower muscle has to flex, saying no. That's incredibly draining over hours. But if you lock the cookie jar in the basement, or even better, just don't buy the cookies in the first place, the temptation is gone, or at least significantly reduced. You don't have to fight it constantly. The choice is essentially already made for you by your environment. The not-to-do list helps you create an environment, both physical and mental, where you don't even see the cookies, metaphorically speaking. You make the bad habit harder to do.
So self-discipline, in the sense of constantly battling temptations, can often feel like punishment, right? Like you're depriving yourself and making life harder and less enjoyable. But a not-to-do list feels more like a clever strategy, a smart way to outsmart your own brain and its natural tendencies towards the easy or instantly gratifying thing. It's proactive. You're planning for success ahead of time rather than just reacting to challenges and temptations as they pop up.
And this next point is a really powerful benefit that many people don't expect when they start using this. The not-to-do list gives you permission, almost like official permission, to say no without feeling guilty. This is a huge win, especially for people who find it really hard to decline requests or set clear boundaries with others, maybe people pleasers.
How does that work, though? How does a simple list make it easier to say no without feeling like you're letting someone down or being difficult or seeming rude? That's something many people genuinely struggle with.
Well, imagine someone asks you, hey, can you join this quick meeting next Tuesday? It just popped up on the calendar and we really need your input. Instead of scrambling to make up an excuse on the spot or feeling obligated to say yes, even if you know deep down it will be a complete waste of your time, you can simply and calmly say something like, sorry, I actually have a personal rule. I don't attend meetings without a clear plan or agenda sent beforehand. It helps me prepare properly and make sure I can actually contribute effectively. You see, you're not saying no to them personally. You're not rejecting them. You're simply following your rule, a pre-established rule that you've already decided is important for your work quality and your time management. The list makes the no feel less personal and more objective. It depersonalizes it and takes the pressure off you in that moment.
That sounds very professional and incredibly smart. It frames your no not as a refusal, but as a commitment to efficiency, preparation, and clear communication. That actually benefits everyone involved. It helps people understand your boundaries.
It really does.
Yeah.
And it very effectively protects your time and your focus, which are your most valuable assets. The list becomes your personal shield. It's a set of clear boundaries that you've already thought about and decided on when you were calm and thinking clearly, not under pressure. It helps you stick to your priorities without having to constantly defend them or feel bad about them in the heat of the moment. You've already done the hard work of deciding what's important and what's not, so the list does the work of protecting that decision for you later on.
And when you start protecting your time and energy like this, with this list, consciously deciding what you won't do, what you're saying no to, something truly magical happens, doesn't it? It feels like it's more than just ticking things off a list or avoiding a few annoying tasks. There's a bigger effect.
Absolutely. It's a profound ripple effect that touches many areas of your life in a wonderful, positive way. You suddenly realize how much energy comes back to you. It's like finding a hidden reservoir of fuel you didn't even know you had stored away. You find you have more mental space to think clearly, to process complex ideas, to reflect on things properly. Your mind feels less cluttered. You gain the strong focus needed to finish important tasks without those constant interruptions or the pull of distractions. You can achieve flow more easily. And perhaps most wonderfully, you even gain a sense of calm, a sense of peace that allows you to truly enjoy small moments in your day, moments that might have been completely lost before in a frantic flurry of distractions and busyness.
So it's not just about being more productive at work or getting more chores done around the house, is it? It feels much deeper than that. It's about your quality of life.
Exactly. No, it's about being more alive, more present, more engaged. It truly makes a big difference in how you experience your daily life, how you feel living it. You're not just rushing through it constantly, feeling overwhelmed and behind. You're actively choosing how you engage with it, moment by moment. You're more present, you're more engaged in what you choose to do, and ultimately, you feel more in control of your own journey. That feeling of being alive, of experiencing life more fully and intentionally, that's the ultimate reward of this simple but incredibly powerful shift in perspective.
Let's take a quick detour into history for just a moment, because this idea, it isn't new at all, not by a long shot. Long before we had productivity apps on our phones or fancy planners, or even the concept of a to-do list as we think of it today. Wise people understood the profound power of stopping things, of subtraction. They understood that sometimes the path to a better, more meaningful life was about removing things, not always adding more.
Really? Like who? Who are we talking about?
Yeah.
Which wise thinkers had this idea centuries ago, way before our modern, cluttered world? We'll think about ancient thinkers like the Stoics. These were philosophers in ancient Greece and Rome, and their teachings were very practical, focused on how to live a good, virtuous life amidst challenges. Philosophers like Seneca or Epictetus or Marcus Aurelius often taught through negatives, through advising what not to do. They would say things like, do not waste time with endless idle talk, meaning don't just gossip or chat pointlessly for hours without purpose. Conserve your words. Or do not chase what others call success, meaning don't blindly follow what society says is important: fame, wealth, power, if it doesn't truly align with your own inner values and goals. Their wisdom, when you really look closely at it, was essentially a very well thought out not to-do list for living ethically, resiliently and wisely.
Wow. So almost like clear rules for life, foundational guiding principles that told them what to avoid in order to live better, more focused lives.
Yes, exactly. Or think about monks and many different old traditions all around the world across various cultures and religions. Their whole way of living, their entire lifestyle, is often built on quite strict rules of avoidance, things they consciously choose not to do. For example, do not eat after a certain hour, which brings discipline and helps focus the mind. Do not seek fancy things or material possessions, which promotes simplicity and helps avoid the endless cycle of wanting more and more. Contentment. Do not chase noise or constant stimulation, which encourages inner peace, contemplation, and quiet thinking. These aren't just random arbitrary rules. They're deliberate choices made to remove distractions and unnecessary burdens from their lives, freeing them up for other pursuits.
And why did they do this? What was the ultimate goal behind all this removal, all this deliberate not doing?
Because by removing these things, by consciously avoiding what they considered unnecessary, distracting, or harmful to their goals, they found great clarity, mental and spiritual clarity. They freed up their minds and their spirits to focus intensely on deeper spiritual practices, philosophical contemplation, or service to others. It's a powerful historical testament to the idea of subtraction for the sake of focus. Even in science, when you think about it, major breakthroughs often came not just from adding new knowledge, but from actively removing old, incorrect ideas that were holding progress back, getting rid of dogma. For instance, when medicine finally said, "Do not believe in bleeding patients as a cure for everything," it was a huge leap forward because a harmful, widely accepted but incorrect practice was stopped. Or when astronomy bravely said, "Do not put Earth at the absolute center of the universe," it dismantled a huge barrier and opened up a whole new, vastly more accurate understanding of the cosmos.
So the underlying idea is truly ancient and very powerful, cutting across different fields. To rise higher, to achieve something significant, whether it's personal growth or scientific understanding, you often first have to take away what holds you down. It's about shedding the dead weight, removing the obstacles, the incorrect assumptions, the distracting habits.
And here's something we don't often connect to this, especially when we talk about being creative or innovative. Creativity doesn't just magically spring from adding more ideas or trying desperately to brainstorm more things. Often it comes from making room. True creativity needs open space to breathe, to wander, and to grow, much like a plant needs sufficient space in the soil to flourish.
What exactly do you mean by making room for creativity? How does that work inside our minds? It sounds a bit abstract.
Okay, imagine a very, very messy room. Picture it. Every corner is piled high with boxes, old clothes you never wear, random objects you haven't touched in years. There's just stuff everywhere, clutter piled high, no clear surfaces. Now, if I asked you to, say, dance freely and expressively in that room, you'd probably look at me like I was crazy and say, "I can't. There's absolutely no space to move. I'll trip over everything and hurt myself." Well, that's unfortunately what many people's minds look like right now. They're constantly cluttered with an endless stream of tasks, notifications, worries, half-finished thoughts, and a whole lot of mental noise. There's simply no open space left for new, fresh ideas to spark, or for your brain to make those surprising connections between old ideas in novel ways. It's too crowded.
And the not-to-do list helps with that messy mental room. It acts like a mental decluttering tool.
Yes, exactly. It's like cleaning that messy room, piece by piece. Once the clutter is gone, once you consciously remove those unnecessary tasks, those draining distractions, those time-wasting habits from your mental space, suddenly there's open floor space in your mind, room to breathe. You can move mentally, you can play with ideas, you can think differently, and you can create new things much more easily. That quiet, uncluttered, empty space is often where true creativity flourishes best. It's where your mind has the freedom to wander, explore, and come up with brilliant new insights or solutions.
You know, I've heard writers and artists often say something similar, that their best ideas come not when they're staring intensely at a blank page or actively trying to force creativity, but when they're not doing much at all consciously, like when they're out for a walk or taking a shower, just resting their minds, letting thoughts drift.
Exactly. That's a perfect example. And it's likely because the principles of the not-to-do list have, perhaps unconsciously, worked to block the constant stream of distractions that usually steal their mind stage. When the mind is not constantly occupied with reacting to every phone notification, every email ping, every social media alert, every little demand, it finally has the freedom to wander, to make loose connections, to connect seemingly unrelated ideas in surprising ways, and to stumble upon those wonderful, unexpected aha moments. So if you want to be more creative, if you want to generate something new and original, don't just ask, what new idea should I add? Also ask yourself, maybe even more importantly, what distractions, what clutter, what noise should I stop doing to make space for creativity to emerge?
Okay, so after hearing all this incredible power behind the not-to-do list, does this mean we should just throw away our old to-do lists completely? Are they now obsolete and useless? Should we only focus on what not to do from now on?
Oh, absolutely not. No. That's a common misunderstanding, but a really important clarification to make. The two lists are definitely not enemies. They shouldn't be seen as competing. They're like partners, essential partners, working together synergistically to help you live a more purposeful and productive life. Think of them like managing a garden.
A garden. Okay, I like these analogies. How do these two different lists relate to tending a garden? That's an interesting way to picture it.
Yes. Think of it this way. Your to-do list is like the precious seeds you carefully plant in your garden. Write that important report, call that key client, learn that valuable new skill, spend quality time with family. These are all the good things you want to grow and bring into your life, the positive actions you want to take, the goals you want to achieve. They represent growth and intention. Your not-to-do list, on the other hand, is like the relentless weeds you need to diligently pull from your garden. No gossip, no mindless scrolling on social media during work hours, no unhealthy snacks when I'm trying to be healthy, no saying yes to draining commitments I secretly dread. These weeds are the things that would inevitably choke your healthy plants, steal their vital nutrients and sunlight, and ultimately stop them from growing strong and bearing fruit.
I get it. That makes perfect sense. You really need both working together, hand in hand. You need to actively plant the good things you want, and you need to actively remove the bad things that will hinder their growth. One without the other isn't enough.
Precisely. You nailed it. If you only plant seeds, to do, but you never pull the weeds, not to do, your beautiful garden will struggle immensely. The weeds will quickly take over, blocking the sun, stealing the water and nutrients, and your desired plants simply won't grow big and strong, or maybe won't survive at all. But conversely, if you only pull weeds, not to do, but you never actually plant any seeds to do, the garden will be empty. It might be impressively clean and free of weeds, but there will be nothing meaningful or beautiful growing there. It will be barren.
So the real secret here is balance. It's about finding that sweet spot. It's about having both active, positive goals for what you want to achieve and cultivate, and strong, protective boundaries for what you want to avoid and eliminate.
Yes, balance is absolutely key. The to-do list tells you what to grow, what positive actions to take, and what important goals to pursue actively. It gives you direction. And the not-to-do list tells you what to protect. It protects your precious energy, your fragile focus, and your limited time from the constant barrage of distractions and things that simply don't serve your growth or your values. It builds the fence around the garden. Together, used wisely, they help you live a life with genuine purpose, a life where you are actively building what matters most to you while carefully, strategically removing what doesn't.
Let's look at just a few more quick examples from everyday life, things that happen to people just like you listening right now, showing again how these small, seemingly simple not-to-do rules can have a really big, tangible impact on different parts of life. These aren't just for CEOs or super productive gurus. They're for everyone, students, parents, professionals, everyone.
Exactly. These everyday examples really highlight the practical magic of this approach and show how easy it can be to implement with significant results. Think about a student preparing for crucial exams. They had a mountain of reading and studying to get through, but they kept getting constantly distracted by their phone buzzing and lighting up. We've all been there. So they made a simple, clear rule for their study sessions. Do not study with my phone physically on the desk. They put it in another room or in their bag. That one small environmental change meant they weren't constantly tempted to pick up their phone, check messages, or get pulled down a social media rabbit hole.
Yeah.
That single not to do reportedly doubled their ability to focus deeply and helped them learn the material much more effectively because their brain wasn't constantly switching tasks and losing concentration. Simple, but effective.
Huge difference for studying. What else?
Okay, consider a young professional who felt constantly tethered to work, even late into the evening and on weekends. They felt this pressure, maybe self-imposed, maybe external, to always be available, always checking emails and work messages. Burnout territory. They decided to set a firm boundary. Do not check work messages or emails after 8 p.m., period. That single line created clear, healthy separation between their work life and their personal life. The results: much better sleep because their mind wasn't racing with work worries right before bed, better mornings because they felt genuinely rested and refreshed. And interestingly, even better ideas and problem solving the next day because their brain actually had sufficient time to relax, consolidate learning, and recharge properly overnight.
Protecting that downtime is critical. One more.
Sure, another great one. A parent who realized, maybe with some guilt, that they were often distracted by their phone during important family time, like meals or playing with their kids. Their attention was divided. They told themselves, and maybe shared this with their family, do not bring my phone to the dinner table. A clear family rule. This wasn't about being unproductive or missing out. It was about choosing to be fully present for their family during those precious moments. The result: more real, meaningful conversations with their children, stronger family connections, less conflict over screen time, and a greater sense of genuine connection and joy during those important shared times together.
Notice how these are not huge, incredibly difficult actions that require massive amounts of willpower or effort every single time. They are tiny, specific walls built strategically around what truly matters most in life, whether that's deep focus for studying, essential personal well-being and recovery, or profound family connection. They are smart, proactive choices that protect what's important from all the noise and demands of modern life.
And if we zoom out and look closely, the not-to-do list is actually more than just a simple productivity tool or a time management hack. It's really a way of thinking, a deeper philosophy for how you approach your one life, your limited time, and your precious energy. It speaks to a bigger truth about how humans can truly live well and meaningfully in a world full of infinite distractions and demands.
What's the big message behind this philosophy then, if we boil it down? What is it truly trying to tell us about how to live a good life?
It's saying something very powerful, I think. It's saying, my life, my time, my attention, these are important enough that I will consciously choose not to waste them on nonsense, on things that don't matter. It's a fundamental declaration of self-respect and intentional living. It's standing up for your own priorities. It's declaring, I choose quality over just quantity. I choose depth over just doing a lot of shallow things. It's choosing true meaning and contribution over simply being busy and looking productive. It's a clear statement that your time and energy are far too precious to be given away carelessly to things that don't truly make your life better or help you achieve your most important goals.
That's a powerful stance because most of us, culturally maybe, tend to measure our life, our success, our worth even, by how much we do. We often feel good, or at least validated, when our calendar is packed full, when our to-do list is intimidatingly long, when we're constantly rushing around being busy. We often make the mistake, don't we, of thinking that busyness automatically equals importance or success.
We do make that mistake. But life, a truly well-lived life, should perhaps also be measured, at least in part, by how much nonsense we skillfully manage to avoid. Because actively avoiding the wrong doors, the tainting doors of distraction, of fake priorities, of energy-killing activities and people, is exactly what allows us to confidently, purposefully walk through the right ones. The doors that lead to genuine achievement, deeper human connections, creative breakthroughs, and a more fulfilling, meaningful life overall. It's about navigating your life with conscious intention, not just blindly reacting and hoping for the best outcome.
We started today with this curious, maybe slightly strange idea that avoiding tasks, saying no, could actually be smarter and more powerful than just trying to do more and more. It might have sounded a bit counterintuitive at first, but as we've explored, there's so much truth and practical power in this simple concept.
We discovered how traditional to-do lists, while definitely helpful and necessary, can sometimes inadvertently trap us in a cycle of busy work, making us feel overwhelmed, stressed, and preventing us from focusing our best energy on what truly matters in the long run. And in beautiful contrast, we saw how not-to-do lists can actually set us free from that trap. We explored how history, the way our own minds work, and countless everyday examples all point towards the same simple, profound truth.
It's not just about what you do, it's about what you consciously choose, what you refuse to do. It's about being deliberate and conscious with your choices every single day, not just reacting passively to everything that comes flying at you or letting the demands of the world dictate how you spend your precious time and attention.
So remember this powerful idea as you go about your week. Every single time you say no to something unimportant, something that drains your energy, distracts your focus, or doesn't align with your core goals and values, you are actually saying a much bigger, more resonant yes to what truly matters to you. You're making space for the important things. Every time you consciously cross out a potential distraction, every time you choose not to engage with something unhelpful or time-wasting, you are opening a door to your best self, to your most focused, effective, creative, and present self.
The not to-do list is definitely not about being lazy at all. That's a misconception. It's not about avoiding work or shirking responsibility, not in the slightest. It's about being incredibly wise, strategic, and intentional with your most valuable non-renewable resources, your time and your energy. It's about taking intelligent control.
So here's a little challenge for you, for everyone listening right now. Tonight, before you go to sleep, take a simple piece of paper or open a note on your phone. It doesn't need to be fancy or perfect. On it, write down just 3 things, only 3 to start. Don't overthink it or make it complicated that you promise yourself you will no longer waste your valuable time or energy on starting tomorrow morning.
Maybe it's that habit of checking your phone every 10 minutes even when you don't need to. Or maybe it's always automatically saying yes to favors you secretly hate doing just to avoid conflict. Or perhaps it's watching TV way too late on weekdays when you know you desperately need more restorative sleep. Pick 3 things that you know deep down are draining your energy, stealing your time, or holding you back.
Put that piece of paper by your desk, or stick it on your fridge, or set a reminder somewhere you'll see it easily. Look at it tomorrow morning. Then try your best to live by those 3 simple rules for just 1 week, just 7 days. Give it a real try. Then at the end of that week, take a moment to check in with yourself. Ask yourself honestly, how does life feel? Does it feel even a little bit lighter, clearer, more under your own control? Are you finding you're getting more of the right things done, the things that actually matter?
That feeling, that wonderful sense of freedom and control, that renewed energy and sharper focus. That is the amazing gift of the not-to-do list. It's a powerful gift you give to yourself every single day. You choose to honor those boundaries.
So start yours today. Don't put it off until tomorrow or next week or the start of next month. Start today, even just 1 item, because your life deserves more than constant noise and endless distraction. It deserves your focus, your freedom, and your deepest meaning.
Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive today. We truly hope this exploration of the not-to-do list helps you build a more intentional, energetic, focused, and fulfilling life.